Hello and welcome to the Jurassic World Evolution 2 new scenery tutorial. This video has been a long time coming, and for those in the modding server, I'm sorry for the massive wait, but it's here now. This video will only cover the basics of adding new decorations. It's not going to go too much into detail. To follow this tutorial you will need these main programs: SQLite Studio, Notepad++, Blender and the Cobra tools. I'm not going to show you how to install the Cobra tools. There's other videos listed which I'll be putting down in the description. A lot by Viral L Cyclops. He's made some good ones. And there's also just a installation guide on how to do it on the Wikipedia, on the GitHub page. Anyway, let's finally start. So the first thing you want to do is go to the program files of Jurassic World Evolution 2. You can do this by using the scene library or just following the file path above. So once you're here, you would want to go to your the decoration template, and then drag and drop it. Not the zip file, the folder inside. Just drag and drop it into here. No need to extract the files or anything. Just do that. Once you've done this, you want to think of a name for your mod. Now for this, I'm just going to name it something really simple, like Majunga statue, because I'm using a Majungasaurus as an example and a statue. So once you want to do that, you would want to double click it and open the manifest. Clear that. Once you're here, just select this and replace it with Majunga statue, and then also just like copy it so you have it saved, and it's pretty useful to have it saved. Well, yeah, you can see I have it saved here already because the previous time I shot a tutorial. Just pin it. It's Windows key V, by the way, to open this. It's pretty useful. You want to change this as well, and this is pretty simple. You just type UUID generator, and then just generate one, paste it in. That's the easiest one. That's the easiest part. So once that's done and saved, remember to save it here. Control S. You would want to go to your UI, and this is where all the image for the Majungasaurus statue is, and then change it to, nope, not that. Change this to UI. This is where the icon is. Once you've done that, you're going to want to go to buildings, decorations, and think of a name, like a code name for your mod to put it here. You could just, I don't know, statue Majunga. This is what I used for the actual Majungasaurus statue and the actual mod, but because it's not installed right now, this is just a clean installation. The only thing you need is ACSC and this, just to show it works by its own. So once you have that, you can press F2 and then copy that and also pin it, because it's also useful to have. So go inside and then rename these inside as well. F2, and once you've renamed all of them, remember to name these two, to go to the end and add .ovs. Just like that. Otherwise you won't be able to load this at all and it's not going to work, and you'll be like, oh no, what's happening? Good, that's all done. Now here, what you would want to do is Cobra Tools, OVL tool, get this up and running, and then just put that here, and then open. Just like a separate, you're gonna want like a separate thing here, just to make it a bit easier to go back and forth between. I like to make a separate file here just to dump things on, then take things out. Once you're here, you're going to want to go to your main, and again, the old decoration template, like the old file name, is still in there. So change that. Change it to what you had it before, Majunga statue, so whatever you renamed it, and then press Control R, or right here, rename, and then Control S, save. And you want to do the same here, Control R, Control S, done. The other thing here though is that there's a file that names it inside as well, which is rename contents, but the other times I tried using that feature before, it just made my game crash, and I checked inside. I wasn't sure what's happening, so for this tutorial I'm just going to do it manually, which is how I'm used to doing it anyway. So once you're here, you don't want to change anything again. Go to buildings, decorations, statue, and then you're going to want to change this one as well. So mod underscore decoration to, well, we've named it statue underscore Majunga. Obviously, like when you rename the name of the code name for the file, you can add deck. You don't have to keep that part in. It's just sort of for decoration, but it's just easier to keep it organized, and the game uses that thing anyway. You can name it whatever, but it's just easier. So rename files again, Control S, done. That's all saved. Control R, Control S, it's all saved. Control R, Control S. Here, to make sure this one works, you're going to change this here. I'm just going to change it to this. This is just what's going to appear as in game. Change it to whatever. I'm just using this right now for demonstration purposes. Drag and drop that in. Now the other thing is though well, the mod's not actually copied to these, which is a bit of a problem, because I think I used this from a different mod. This, like the LOC files. Yep. So just ignore all of that. So if you do live in a different country, I'd just drag, drop it, and then whatever country you live in, just pick one, and then just get rid of all these, and then put it into there. However, obviously multiple people are going to be using this mod from different countries, so there is a script that lets you copy and put them all into that, which I'll show you later. But right now, just go to the country where you live in, and then just put that one into there, just so you know that the LOC file works, which it normally does anyway. And then there's this one too, which is the icon that will be used for the mod, like the little mini icon. Obviously in this case it's just a white square, but I'm going to edit that to something else just to see if it works or not. There we go. And then inject. Yeah, just drag and drop it in there. You don't have to change that part. You can change that however you like, but that's just how you change the text files. Now, once you're here, you also want to do Control R, Control S, rename them here. Then Control R, Control S, and rename them here. Once you've done that part, you're going to want to select these 5, drag it and drop it out in it, then drag it and drop it out. Select all of these and just open them in Notepad++, and you're going to want to name it inside. So all the decoration template stuff, change that to, well, I had it before here as Majunga statue. So replace all unopened documents, and if it works and changes all of the ones that you want, it will say 20. And you can do the same thing for mod decoration. That's going to change all of them to statue Majunga, or whatever you name the file. Just replace all the open documents, and if it's right, it'll say 44. Then you can just do Control Shift S. All of these are just going to be saved now, which is easier. And then you want to inject them back into here. So asset, databases, asset. They're the one that matches. So if you did it right, then it won't add an extra file. Control S. And then you go here and just delete those, select these, drop those in, Control S, get rid of that. Then you want to open this with SQLite. Well, let me just close that for now. Press this, the editor, then add this line of code and press run. So you can actually like edit these. Then I'd say open up this one, auto build, buildings, camera data, scenery, and UI. And now here what you would want to do is just add a name that you're gonna, the name of the decoration that you did. So because I did Majunga, I'm gonna copy that. Just paste it in there. 1, 0, tick, done. And then just get rid of that one. If you refresh it, it'll just say that. Paste, tick, paste. Wait, nope. Don't paste it in yet. Keep the foundation part and then paste. Refresh. Yeah, like that. And this is if you want to lock it to a certain DLC, which you should probably do if you're using files from a DLC. Next, if you want to go to camera data, do the same thing, tick. Scenery, same thing, tick. UI data, same thing, tick. And then just think of a really random number, and then add a bunch of zeros at the end. So yeah, that's good. It's pretty random. Otherwise, it's going to conflict with someone else's mod, and you can't really like check each and every individual decoration mod. So you might as well just think of a really absurd number and mostly hope it works. And then this part changes it to see if you want it in a different menu, like if it'll be in the tree menu or the facility menu or the signs menu. For this part, it's just going to be in the park menu of the decorations. This part, you're just going to statue underscore Majunga, and that's that part done. And that's all that done. So just inject that in and save. And to make sure it works, you're going to open up the game one time, and if it does work, it'll just be a normal concrete barrier decoration. So obviously it's the different menus that I showed you about earlier, but oh, the smiley face works. And this is all the like renaming stuff has worked, which means that it is now just all you have to do really is change like models and textures. So that hard part is now done and out of the way. Alt F4 and leave. So the next part you want to do is adding a separate model into your like decoration, because right now you don't really want to add a concrete barrier into it. What's the point in that? So you're going to go to Blender, import MS2, this. And what you want to do here is just get rid of this one, just press delete, and then make sure all these vertices are selected. Now obviously if you have this selected and then this, it's going to paste it into there, but I already have a model that I plan on using, so and this is it. And now if I were you, if before you join these together, you'd want to just press tab, edit mode, and just select no vertices at all, just not a single one. and then you can control and then click onto this, Control J, and then when you press Tab, only this will be selected, which you can delete, and then press A, and then go here and just assign. So all the vertices are assigned to this. And make sure there's no extra materials here. That should not be there. Get out. Once that is done, you can go to your collection. Oh yeah, and just update the LODs. Now I'm not going to do that yet because I'm going to show you a few of the stuff first, in case you're interested. Well, you should know this anyway. The first thing you want to know how to do is add in a separate object, because right now there's one object and there's one material, and like that's it. It's just those two. You can't really add anything else to it. And if you want to have, I don't know, let's say like a kiosk or something, and that's going to have different textures for each part. It's not going to just be one solid texture. It's not, well, the statues would just be one solid texture because it's just a statue, but normal mods won't have that. So in case of doing something like that, what you're going to want to do is press Tab and then select the parts that you want as a separate material. So for this, I'm just going to do the eyes, tongue, spikes, because that's already separate, so it's easy for me to select. But for you, you're going to have to select the parts that you don't want. Press P. So yeah, press P and then separate by selection. Once you've done that, you'll have this separate one which has the same properties. So change that to 1. Now if you were to add again another separate one onto that, you'd add like, I don't know, like the specific spike, you go P selection and then change that one to the 2 for a different material, but obviously I'm not going to do that. They're just going to be the same for now. Just so you know, to add more and more, there'd be different ones and how to add that. Once you've done that part, you can just go to here, collection, and update LODs 4, and there is L1, 2, 3, and 4. It says 3, but there's 4 altogether, so just press OK. Good, now they're all different. The other thing though is that to optimize it well, each level of detail is going to be slightly lower, but because this is a dinosaur model and there's more vertices, you don't really want to like have too many, otherwise it's just not optimized and the game will bug a bit more as you place more and more down. If you're a fanatic that's going to place loads and loads of statues down for no reason. So in case of that, what you would want to do is go to the L1. Well, L1's fine. I'd say just hide that and then go to L1's fine. L2 though, change that to like half, not half, as in like 0.3. And then L4, I don't know, just crank it down to like, yeah, like that much, because there's less vertices. Well, even then, there's still 2,000. Jeez. Jesus. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah. But obviously, you don't want to have it like stupidly low like that. That's too visible from really far away. There's no point in that. Yeah, this is good. The other thing is changing a hitbox. Changing a hitbox isn't too hard. You just get this, move it however you want. I'm just gonna do that and that, but you can change the location, rotation, that stuff. Yeah, that's good. And then you will want to do Control A and only apply scale. Only apply the scale. Nothing else. Even if you move the location and rotation, only apply the scale. And then, well, that's pretty much done. So just select that. Export, MS2, go here. And if you change the hitbox, select these two, and then export. Now we're going to make sure, well, we're going to inject it in here first, Control S, that's all saved, and we're going to load up the game again just to make sure the model shifting part has worked. As you can see here, the model works, which is very, very good news. And that way we can move on to the next part, textures, and then obviously just adding a separate one in like another decoration into the same pack. Good, that's all done. The next part you want to start on is the textures. You can start this by, well, you can, if you're using like a statue that has a skin of a dinosaur or an animal or whatever, and it's only gonna, if it's only gonna apply to that decoration, that material, you'd add it into here, the FGM and the text files, you just put them in here. But you're not really gonna do that for like, if two decorations use one of the same texture, you're not going to put it into each individual file because it's just going to create too much space and it's going to bloat it. So what you would do is go to your buildings, decorations, and add shared. Go to shared, and then add materials, and then whatever you want to name this file, decoration materials. All done. Now you want to copy a file from here. For this, I'm just going to copy one from the buildings. So shared, shared, materials, classic. I'm just going to copy these and put it into here, and then I'm going to rename it. And add the OVS at the end. That way you can open it. Shared materials, decoration materials, and here. You can name it whatever you want to. I've just named it here, just to make temporary. And the one I'm going to be using is the signs one. So I'm just going to select that, exclude it, save, double click. Cool, that's all done. Well, from this point, I'm just going to keep these the way they are. I'm not going to mess with the actual files. And I'm just going to change SE signs 001 to S mod material 001. And then rename that, and then rename that, and then save. And then just extract them into your testing folder. And what you want to do here is drag that, drop it into here. Don't want to do that. Okay, so you want to open this in Blender this time again. But this time I'm going to show you how to do the two material parts. The first part is adding in your own material that's going to be in this folder, but the other part is using a material that's already in the game, if you want to do that. Now, this one already uses a material that's already in the game, the concrete texture, but I'm going to show you how to change that in case you want to change it to one that's somewhere else. It's not very hard to do. For that, you want to change it to, well, you go to find out which one you want to change it to. Let's say, oh, I want to change it to dirt fine brown or lagoon floor, or whatever you want. Lagoon floor, yeah, lagoon floor. So you would name this to lagoon floor 001 because that's what it's named here. But it's not going to change it yet. it's just going to rename it and then it'll just show up invisible because it doesn't know where to go to get it, which I'll show you how to do that. So keep that there. And then for this one, this is if you want to add your own separate texture. If it's in a separate object, you'd press new, so it has the same properties as that one. Don't make a new texture from here or from here, press this. And then name it, well, you can name it what you want. And I've named mine mod material 001. Yeah, mod material 001. So that's been changed. And then, because this is still using Lagoon Floor on that one, you'd want to just update the LODs again. LODs, not LODs. That uses mod material, that uses, yep, that's all done. And then you can just safely export it. Wait, export it. So once you've exported that, you're going to want to open it up again. Don't inject it just yet. Open it up again in Blender. And this time, switch to your material viewer. And if it worked, the part that you want to change to your custom material, which would be here, the textures aren't going to show up if they aren't all in the same folder right now. They're going to be here. So that works. Cool. These are all a separate texture. This is white though. That's normal. That's because it does, well, the Lagoon Floor textures aren't in here, but we're not going to worry about that right now because they're in the game and we're going to switch it to the game. So just don't save. And then what you want to do here is go back to here and inject it and save. Once that's all done, you can get rid of that. But even though that's been changed to a separate texture now, it's just going to show up invisible in the game because it can't actually get these files. To do that, it's not too hard actually. You just go to get the Majunga Statue UI one and rename this to decoration materials. So whatever you name it, so you're going to want to name it to whatever you named this folder in here, decoration materials. Open that up. Now this, you're going to want to use the same file path from here as well. So, you know, Majunga statue, but then it goes building, shared materials, decoration materials. But here it says UI, so buildings, shared materials, decoration materials, and then decoration materials again. Just save that. Once that's saved, make sure open it up again, make sure it's saved. Put that into here. So it adds an extra one, and then just save that. Next, what you want to do is go to whatever mod that uses the change textures, open that up, and then here you can add the asset package loaders. That's what these are. Asset PKG package, asset package loaders. So because we used a different file path from here, you'd want to name it the same thing here with capitals. Decoration materials. But we also used a texture file from a different part of the game. So that was in BLDG floor materials. Right here, you want to add that as well. BLDG floor materials. And just copy those two Oh, okay. Or just type it in manually, it's just safer. There we go. Decoration materials, floor materials. Save. And then you can inject that into your file. Moment of truth. And it works. This is definitely works. So you can see that the main texture of the lagoon floor is applied onto the Majungasaurus, because there's a crab right there, and the spikes are using the sign textures. That obviously, if you swap, would turn into a custom one. Cool stuff. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is add a separate, like another decoration into the same mod. So like you won't have just a separate mod for each and every decoration. You might as well have them all into the same mod. So for this, I don't know, just copy, Control V, Control V, Control C and Control V, I mean. Statue Majunga 2. Again, doesn't really matter whatever you name it, just as long as it's different from that one and it's more organized. Copy that, and then name it in the same in here as well. And remember to change these. Now what you want to do here is also make sure they're all the same. Statue Majunga 2, Statue Majunga 2. So I'd add the deck just to be safe. No, don't do that. Look, they all have the 2 at the end now. Obviously, it would change drastically to whatever you're going to rename it, because what if, let's say, it's a different species, you wouldn't name it Majunga 2, you'd name it like Spino or whatever. You get the idea. But the other thing as well is once this is all changed, you're going to want to go to change it in the other places as well. So localized in the thingy files. Rename it and then change it, but then don't save it, just you can add it back in, can't you? Well, I'm not going to do that though. What I'm going to do is just change it to 2 and then save. There we go. Change that. And same thing here. So Majunga 2. Again, you can change the UI to whatever you want. Only inject the text file, not the PNG as well. That's added. In it as well. Drag that. But keep it here as well, because you're not going to put it in just yet, because you're going to rename stuff. And then rename what's in here to here. Now you're going to open all of these, and then you're going to change the entirety of this into this and replace all, and it's going to be 37. That means it's worked. And everything has been changed and it's all good to go. Now you can inject them safely. And you also want to change the databases file here, but this part is a bit different because instead of replacing, you're going to add a separate one onto here like this. And then in here, you can rename them. So in selection, replace all. And that's done. Control S, Control W, and inject it back in. This part is a bit different as well. First of all, you're going to want to load up this part again. Clear all. Pragma foreign keys off, but now it's on. So open auto build, buildings, camera data, scenery, and UI data. And then said here, what you're going to do is copy that, and then let's say add a 2 at the end. Okay, or it does that. Okay, 1, 0, tick. And that's added a separate one here for that mod, for that statue. You're going to add a separate one here. Just copy all of these, but then for here, just add the Majunga 2 part. Just add a 2 at the end. Do. Okay, or it does the same thing there again for some reason. Why does it do that? I don't know. Scenery. Majunga 2. For here though, what you would do is put the 2 here, but for this, change this to 1, and then if you add another decoration on top, you add that same number and then 002, 003, 004, 005, and so on. 2. Yep, that's that all done. So that's a 2, 1 added to all of these. Let's inject it. And obviously you'll know it works when it adds a separate one here. Majunga statue, and then Mustang Majunga statue 2. So the last thing I'm going to show you to do is copying the text files to match them all across in the same country. And we'll be using a script by Hexabit, which was actually one of the creators of Cobra Tools, who made the OVL, people who worked on the OVL tool. That's cool. Now, keep in mind that you can't just run it and it will copy across. You're going to want to run it, you're going to want to edit it. So just remember to change that part in here to whatever it's going to copy from. And then you could just save it. And then when I run it, run anyway. When I run it and I check each one, United States, it's matching. I'll leave it into the mod template just so, because you'd have to download it from the Discord. But yeah, credit to Hexabit for making this. Thank you for watching this video. This should cover all the basics about the decoration modding, and if you want to make more complex decorations, if you want to go more into that, feel free to experiment in your own time or ask for help in the modding server over in Azure. That's actually in the link in the GitHub of the Cobra tool, so there's probably modders there who will be happy to help if you don't ask them questions, that is. This message is more aimed towards the people in that server and the people on Nexus. I don't plan on returning to make more mods for Jurassic World Evolution 2. And when Jurassic World Evolution 3 comes out, the chances are very low. Not impossible. I might come back if I have the time, but that will only be if they have no statues in Jurassic World Evolution 3, then I'll make one big mod, more of a side project, but
modding's not really a priority for me right now. I just want to focus on my college work. Thank you for enjoying all of the mods that I've published, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and yeah, make your own mods. Thanks.